Okay, we are now into the second week. It's great, it really is, because now you've broken most of the routines that you do on a day-by-day basis. Not all the routines you do in your life, but you've dealt with a Tuesday now, and a Wednesday, and a Thursday, and a Friday. You dealt with a weekend without a cigarette. You got through all those activities without smoking. Hopefully you would dealt now with the Monday. And again, I talked about this in the last video, how the Monday morning can be really tricky for people. It's like they don't want to get up, they don't want to get out of bed, and they're writing it off to not smoking. And again, it's their life going on without smoking. They haven't wanted to get out of bed on a Monday morning again since kindergarten. And now, the first time they get the reaction, oh, it's because they're not smoking. No, this is life going on without smoking now. But into the second week, you don't have that many new day-to-day rituals that are going to come into play. As seasons change, there will be different issues, or as you go into holiday time periods where you have kids home that aren't home normally, or people coming back home. Yeah, there's going to be triggers like that. But it's not going to be like just a fact that this day, at this point in time, I'm going to have to do this without a cigarette for the first time. No, you did it a week ago. You did it a few days ago. It's now a matter of repeating rituals you've already done over and over again. Again, the first 3 days were especially tricky. Everything was new on top of drug withdrawal. Now you just have the new circumstances without the withdrawal complicating it. When I do clinics, I meet with the people on a Tuesday through a Friday night, and I have pretty intense contact with them. Not only the 2 hours of the first session and the hour and a half of the other sessions, but I have phone contact with them almost every day. As I said earlier, I stop that contact about Sunday. I want them to realize they can get through a day without hearing from me. Then on Monday, when they come back again, then I refocus on why they were quitting, the benefits that they're starting to see, and spend time on that. I don't call them again until Wednesday. And it's pretty funny because Tuesday evening, many people find themselves really wanting a cigarette, having a little bit of a hard time Tuesday evening. And you would think, oh, wow, well, it must mean that, 7 days, something really happens, where it gets hard for people again. No, that's not what the situation is. During the week of the clinic, they were meeting, coming to my clinics every evening at 7 o'clock. Now, the weekend had its own nuances about it, so it wasn't the same as a weekday evening. But now, the first Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock, there's no meeting to go to. They now are home, or they're at work, whatever that situation is for a 7 o'clock normal routine for a weekday evening, without a meeting, and all of a sudden, how do they do this without a cigarette? How do they sit and watch this TV show that every other time they watch, they always had a cigarette without a cigarette? But again, it will be awkward, but they'll get through it. It's like how they dealt with the first 3 days, where everything was awkward, and they got through it. And now that's the trick, just doing as much of normal routines as you can. That really is the trick at this point in time. The more things that you are doing now, especially things that you're intimidated by, things that you're afraid can never really be done without smoking, the more things like this you do, the more confident you will start to grow in your realization. There's nothing you can't do without smoking. It really is a learning process now. As I said, I normally don't have contact with people again until the Wednesday. And that contact, I'll do a call, but a lot of times I don't reach people. That's when I start sending out the reinforcement letters that are at whyquit.com. I have about 100 letters that we use for reinforcement. I talked about this extensively in many of these letters, that they were never meant as a device for quitting smoking. They were reinforcement already for people who had quit smoking in the clinic, and I was writing them and sending them out to reinforce their resolve of what they were doing. The first letter that I send out would be on the Tuesday or Wednesday, and it would be the My Cigarette, My Friend article, which it's just where a lot of people start thinking about cigarettes this way. They start to get this kind of like sadness, and not the depression kind of sadness that people can experience the first few days typically, but just like, oh, they lost their best friend. And that letter is really aimed at getting people to realize, this was no friend. A few days later, I sent out the Smoker's Vow letter. And what I'm going to do with the link that I attach at the end of this video, and again, it'll be the starting second week page, it'll have some of those letters that I send at that point in time. I won't meet again with the people until the next Monday, so they're going to have a whole week without seeing me. They'll have 1 or 2 phone calls. Again, if someone's having trouble, I'll have more contact with them, and hey, they can call me at any time. But it's kind of the same in the video here too. I mean, if people are having questions or concerns they don't know what to do with, they can email me. I'll try to get the direct responses to them, via email. And I'm assuming everybody who's watching this has computer access, so they probably have email capability too. So if you're having questions or concerns, the answers are in the Quit library at whyquit.com. But again, sometimes it could take a little while to find them, but email us and we'll get a response back to you. I hope people start to use the library at whyquit.com, and just, again, in a sense, we're not going to be able to send emails out to people in the clinic, but the stuff is there. Start to go through that literature. It'll be stuff that to some degree you've heard already in the videos, but you're going to be at a different point in your mindset at this point in time. In a sense, maybe much more receptive to them, recognizing how applicable these certain things were for you that you never thought of before. When you were first hearing them, they may have been interesting, they may have been dull, they may have applied to you, but then you start to realize, no, some of the stuff was real in your circumstance. So don't feel like, well, I've heard this all before, so what good is this going to do? Because you're hearing it in a different way right now. You're hearing it when you're not under the influence of nicotine, which may mean you have a much more open mind and just a more accurate perspective of things that are happening. So the link at the end will have specific articles. I'll throw a few videos in. You don't even have to watch these videos all in a row right now. You can watch them over the next few days. Same thing with the articles. You can read them as you want, as you have time. Really, the most important things to be doing at this point isn't focusing on quitting smoking anymore. It's going on with your life. It really is showing that it can be done. I don't want people to spend hours a day now thinking they have to, secure those quits. Your quits are probably much more secure than you realize at this point in time. You want to spend a little bit of time each day reinforcing resolve that you're doing this and congratulating yourself for doing it, but just go on with your life now. There'll be one more video in this series where basically I had starting day 1 through day 5 or through day 6, then this one going into the second week, and then there'll be one more video, and it makes sense. I'm trying to correspond with what I do in the clinic. I have one more meeting, and that's for second Monday, so that will just be almost at a 2-week mark, at which point I'll probably never see the majority of the people again. They're welcome to come in for reinforcement, but if you listen to the video and the follow-up meetings, I'm not sure I put that video in yet. It'll probably be attached into this one or the next one. You'll realize very few people come to those meetings, and very few people call for help. It's great. It's because very few people need that help. It's there when they need it, in a sense. We are here when you need it too, but very few people find themselves having to, pursue that route. So again, enjoy your second week. There'll be plenty of videos. Like I say, I'll attach at this point and at the link at the end of this, and there'll be supplemental reading materials. And you can go ahead in the reading materials by going just to the whyquit.com/Joel Library to get, if you want to find something much more specific, you can go through that material yourself. So good luck in your second week, and just know you'll get through it day by day with your quit totally intact by sticking to the commitment you made, hopefully the day you started watching this, to never take another puff.